Oh man, what is up, everybody? It is the actual King Smith, here at the sports bar at WTF Nation Radio. Let's turn the sports bar light on up here. All right. I'm one half of this thing. Uh the other coach, the other host that we have here is my main man, Coach. Let me bring him up on the screen. Coach, let the people know something.
What the fuck do you hear? What the fuck do you say?
Oh,
You're getting the fucking ghetto coach tonight, my good friend.
yeah.
I am not in a good fucking mood at all.
If I was you, I wouldn't be in a good mood either. Your real life NFL team is trash, and your fantasy season is horrible. You went from champ to chump just like that, and I am happy. Yeah. You know something though? It's okay. It's okay, coach, because we've been doing this for a while now. This is our
Yeah,
third
I
football
deserve
season.
this. As
And
much as I deserve this, you're gonna get it.
around this time, around this time, there's typically a catalyst. And I don't know if you're going to give it to the people today, but if the people have never heard of coaches rants, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I can pick on you long enough that we might get one today. You give us one during the football season. It's put on by the Jets. I don't know if we're going to get one today. We'll see. Oh man.
Don't push my damn buttons. Not today. Not today. This is already started off as a show to last minute types of things and bringing up stuff from histories.
Yes, sir.
I'm not in a good mood. I'm definitely not in a good mood. I'm not in a good mood because the Yankees are also in freaking the postseason, and again they're doing what they always do with Aaron Boone, and losing stupidity because of his stupid moves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
All right.
And by the way, I have an update from last week. Where Testers has done a performance review of the Reebok Angel Reese shoes.
Yes. Okay.
$150 worth of hot garbage.
Yo.
Just like her game.
Wait a minute. Wait a
Yes.
minute. Really?
Yes. You got to think about this. Reebok has not been innovating whatsoever, so they've been using older technology, and it's being made mass produced in China. No, Reebok did not do anything well with this. It might be popular, but performance wise, it is just a regular, terrible, off the rack type of shoe. That's all I'll say like
Interesting.
that. It's too much, again, too much hype and no substance.
Uh-huh.
Man, and you know what's bad is that my favorite TikTok page, Stat Stuffer, has nothing to do now for the next 10 months
Why is that? Oh,
because she's
because
not
she's no
playing.
longer playing. She's no longer playing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Butter pecan, bang! That guy, yeah.
we've got some comments early in the building, so let's acknowledge those that have commented. Shout out to God Happened to Me on YouTube, said good evening. Good evening, Boo Thang. Appreciate you popping in. Michelle Early on Facebook, same person, but I like the double support. That's what I'm talking about. Says Coach seems louder than King. I've adjusted that. I've made me louder and put Coach down just a little bit because I don't know. I got a feeling that might need to happen sometime later on today. So we shall see. Now, we've got a couple of things Coach kind of alluded to what we're going to be talking about as well. We're going to give our thoughts on the MLB postseason. The WNBA has reached the finals, and the final two teams are locked in. We're going to give our thoughts on that as well. The Ryder Cup happened. And there was some controversy that came out of that. I mean, if we're supposed to be trying to make America great again, golf didn't allow that to happen, as there was something that occurred for the first time since 2012. And we're going to get into that when we talk about the Ryder Cup. We're going to give our fantasy football listener league update. And we're just going to chat here for a bit. So thanks for tuning in. Stick around here for some sports talk here at the Sports Bar at WTF Nation Radio. And then once we're done, we're going to kick it over to Radar for the
Why?
Smoke Pit. Yes.
Forget radar. You never said that we were going to go over the fantasy football stuff.
Oh, we all
No, you never
no.
said that.
Don't you hide. Don't you
What?
hide. Don't you hide. We always go over the fantasy football stuff. It's one of the things we cover.
Oh,
We always don't know. You're not going to avoid this. As a matter of fact, let's just kick that off right now.
Oh.
Yes. All right. So let's bring this up on the screen here. Bam. Nope, that ain't it. Oh, you're not gonna get out of this. Bam, there it is. All right. So if you take a look at the league standings, let's just start at the bottom. There's two teams that have not won a single game this year. And there's T's impressive team, which is more like T's trashes team. And oh, look at that. Who's just above? CQ's middle finger, aka Coach, at 0-4. That is eerily familiar to another team that is also 0-4. Coach, you started out by talking about how, you had this real good team and how you were gonna come out here, you were gonna be dominating.
Okay. Let me start off real quick. Let me start this off because we're talking about fantasy. So let's talk about fantasy.
Let's talk about fantasy.
I am now 0-4. Last week, I thought it would be a brilliant idea, them coming off of a shutout to start the Washington Commanders against the daggone Atlanta. I was about to call them the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, and that scored me negative points. And I love the fact that I drafted two prime receivers in A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel. And I love the fact that each week they take turns having a great week while the other one sits on their ass and pouts and gets trade rumors done about them. And they alternate each week. So that's been screwing me every daggone week. I've had a crap running back, and yes, I did use Joe Mixon later on so that I can have a little bit of an off-season or a mid-season boost. But I am praying for Mixon to come back because I am going through running backs like freaking like Angel Reese is catching her own missed shots. I'm going through so many damn running backs. It's not even funny. And then I'm going to say this. This is not really. This is everybody's getting injuries. So, we got a whole bunch of people with injuries. Malik Neighbors is gone. Tariq Hill's gone. And now I get Lamar gone. And luckily enough, I got Geno Smith. But Geno doesn't look like the same Geno that, last year that, ended up making the Pro Bowl. He's playing over there Raiders, and their owner who, cuts his hair with the daggone metal bowl and goes around like this. Looks like he gets a free bowl of soup after the end of the haircut. No, and Geno Smith, the same one, the Jets quarterback, Geno Smith, that won 11 years ago. Yeah, and now I got him on my damn team. All right, go on to everybody else because I'm going to end up beating this guy this week, whoever is on there. I think I got Radar again. I don't know who I've got this week, but whoever it is, I'm winning. I am getting out of the basement. I will be 1-5 next week.
We also need to talk about this. Hold on, because we're not going to let this
We're 1-4 next week.
You lost by 0.4 of a point. The score was 86.98 to 86.58. Talk about cracking up laughing. So if you take
that pissed me off. Oh, did that?
I was one of the highest scoring going into week 4. I'm 3-1. You've got Dream Machine, who is 1-3 currently right now. And when I take a look at the matchup at the projected starters of who y'all are likely going to play right now, it has Dream Machine projected to score more points than you. But man, your team is ravaged with injuries.
It is.
Yikes.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah. Completely.
You know what? It's going to be hilarious. Right now, you've got the Giants defense going up against the Saints.
You know what? And that's because either one of them are going to be terrible this week. And I have a feeling that the Giants defense is going to be a little bit less terrible
on the
than
road.
The New Orleans. Yes, because Jackson Dart has got a little bit of a plug up now with the Giants. Just got them their first win. And I'll tell you, if I think that the worst quarterback situation in the NFL, if you ever thought about it, it's over in New Orleans.
Oh,
and
100%.
The Giants D is going to end up tearing a lot of things apart. Unless Kamara has a big daggone game, yeah, the Giants D against New Orleans is going to be you're going to have like a 10-6 game. It's not going to be, it's going to be low score and it's going to be ugly.
You know
just
what?
like both of those teams.
Let's see. Right
Just like
now,
Monday night. Ugly.
hey, right now it's not the lowest point total. The lowest point total projected for week 5 looks to be the Vikings Browns at 36 and a half. Vegas
See,
has
that's yeah, and they just went to well that and when I did my pick, that was right before the Browns just went to their next quarterback.
yeah, that was some interesting news. I saw a video. I didn't have time to prep it
Yes.
where they were talking to Shador
Yeah.
Sanders, and he just kind of gave like a mime non-vocal answer where his mouth was moving, but he didn't necessarily say nothing. You know, it's kind of like when people when you want to say "I love you," but instead you mouth olive oil like this.
Yeah.
So nobody knows
Yep.
what he said. There was a lot of speculation in the comments about what people thought that he said, but I found that pretty interesting. They've got the Giants, Saints.
I think what he should be saying is XFL because that's the only chance that he's going to be playing.
Oh
Or
wow,
what do they call now? The UFL or the AFL or the USFL or the douchebag FL? What the hell is that called again?
man! Let's stay on this real quick. Then why are a
All
lot of
right.
people championing Sanders to start? You have a lot of vocal sports guys, people that played the game, that are saying that the man deserves the chance to start and showcase. What are other people seeing that the Browns organizations are going? He's not ready yet.
What they're seeing is raw talent and trying to give somebody a shot that they may have just because the opportunity is open. I mean, for crying out loud, everybody still remembered, everybody was crying and complaining that nobody gave Colin Kaepernick a shot, but completely forgot the fact that he was 4-12 in his final years with 5 touchdowns and 29 interceptions and was turning the ball over like crazy. But everybody wants to give somebody a shot because they feel that if they've gotten behind them on social media and that's their person, such as Shador Sanders has done with that NIL deal going all the way back to when he got into Jacksonville State, then and only then is the reason why he's got these people clamoring for him to get going to it. That's the only reason. Okay, there were NFL people saying that, yeah, we should give, what's his name, Colin Kaepernick another shot. If people are going to say it just to say it. People are going to say it because that's what they believe, just to try to do it. There were people who still thought Tebow was going to give the shot. Okay, so let's be as blunt and honest here. When people give opinions about what is happening with a quarterback, then you're going to have every single opinion on the face of the earth. Mike White should have been the Jets quarterback instead of Zach Wilson for many, many, many years. Okay, but he wasn't.
Right now, ESPN.
Anybody's got an opinion on it.
Right now, ESPN has your chances of making the playoffs at 2%. I'm pretty sure if you go into week 5 and you lose week 5 as well, that would pretty much shut down your chances of making the playoffs. Just like we're in a shutdown right now in the government. Doo-doo. All right. I had to get that one off. Um, there was one more thing that I'd like to cover. Look, if seeing knees being bent in ways that it should not be grosses you out, don't look at the screen. If you didn't know, wide receiver, I must still call him a superstar. He's still a superstar, while he's also making 1,000 kids. Tariq Hill had a gruesome injury this past Monday night, and we're going to play it. And then I'm going to show y'all the hospital picture that Tariq Hill took afterwards. So here's the video. I'm going to warning, this is graphic. Look away if you ain't ready for this. I'll tell you when to look back.
Him back on the field.
He waited a long time for this, much earned, and there should be more in the second half.
Right now, I'm just going to stop it right there because this is a short clip. Knees ain't supposed to be bent the way that his knees are bent right now. They're saying that torn ligaments, multiple torn ligaments, ACL's done. They likened it to an injury. Man, I just had the person's name. It's floating across his big head of mine, but I forget who it was. But liken it to a very similar injury, and that he's going to need total knee reconstruction. With the way Tariq Hill plays, I'm not entirely too sure that he comes back the same. He's an explosive, fast twitch wide receiver, and at his age, I don't see him being a productive guy coming back from this type of an injury. Coach, do you have any thoughts on this video?
We're talking about Travis Henry with the University of Miami. That's
Was
what
it
I kind
Travis
of thought
Henry?
about that one. I think it was Travis Henry. Yeah, did that during the game against Ohio State, the national championship game, and then the Bills drafted him. I think. Yeah, I want to say that was the one, but that's what it kind of reminded me of. I mean, look, shit happens. Tyreek now he's got reconstructive. It's going to be a surprise if Tua is going to be if Tua is going to be the quarterback, or if even if Mike McDaniel will be the coach by the time he gets back on as being Tyreek Hill. Yeah, next year might be coming back to a different team. He might be going to a different team coming off of this injury. So whatever it is, they got the win. You know what? And let's also be honest here too. There's been stupider things that have happened, but there's always been this thing with the lightning rods on the team. That if something bad happens to the lightning rod, well, the team ends up getting better. Because that distraction's not there. And I'm not saying that this team's not going to get better without Tyreek Hill because he's still one of the best, but there is something to be said that they might salvage the season and be above 500 and be below 500, 0-3 with Tyreek Hill. And then after his injury, they're 500 for the rest of the season. Hey, might happen. I know damn well it ain't going to happen to the Jets, but it might as well happen to Miami because, Mike McDaniel ain't going to have a job by the end of this year. Dear God, that guy looks like he's been snorting, taking bumps of cocaine right in the middle of, right at the middle of the half, and trying to get himself going. That dude is just, oof.
I agree. It was Brandon Ayuk of the 49ers who.
I remember that one.
He
Yeah.
sustained a very similar injury last season. We're in a new season. He's not back. There's no timetable. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. Now, those of y'all that I said to look away, you can look back because I've got it off the screen. I am going to also now show you the medical care team that took care of Tariq Hill while he was rehabbing, post knee incident. And bam, that's the hospital staff right there. All of the snow buddies that took care of Tariq while he was resting up post injury are all now pregnant and having his kid, and he is fathering 13 more babies. I could not let that one slide. I'd like to thank a viewer of WTF Nation Radio for sending me that one. I had to find a reason to use it. And
in 2040, we're going to be watching the Cromarties versus the Hills on 11 on 11.
Damn. Let's see. We've got a couple of people in the building. Shout out to Pop Culture Warrior said that the GOAT is here. Look, I didn't say it, but I am going to acknowledge it. CQ is the only undefeated team. He got lucky. He got lucky. If the person he played against in week 4 would have properly set their lineup, he would have took an L in week 4. But then let's acknowledge him and the fact that he is undefeated, because in one of my other leagues, he's like you. He's 0. He is 0-4, and I am loving that. Absolutely loving it. Let's see. We got Richard Bronco in the building. Salute to you. Pop Culture Warrior said that OBJ wasn't the same after his injury, and I have to agree. He wasn't as explosive as Tariq Hill, but he still was like that route up guy, that run after the catch type guy, and OBJ just wasn't the same. He was a shell of himself.
Only guy that I know that really ever came back from an ACL injury like that was Adrian Peterson. And that might have been the only guy that I ever did that I thought about. Came back and was at the same level that he was after the injury. So, I mean, with an ACL injury, and especially with tearing all 4 of them, the first person I remember who ever tore all 4 of them was Rod Woodson. And Rod Woodson went from a Pro Bowl quarterback to a Pro Bowl safety within about 1.5 to 2 years after that surgery happened. So he might have that explosiveness, but it's just now taking him down. It's going to do something pretty bad. You know what? And if I'm right too, I want to say Jerry may have had something. But at that point, I don't know if Jerry Rice was, I'm not going to say Jerry Rice came back as great as he was, because I think at that point Terrell Owens was taking over as the primary receiver for San Francisco, and that's when he went over to the Raiders. So don't quote me on that, but I think Jerry Rice might have also had that done too.
Copy all. Shout out to KT King is in the building. KT King is a guy that we interviewed last week. Y'all look, after this live stream is over, sometime between 9 this weekend, if you did not see our interview last week, we brought on former wrestler KT King, who was not directly involved with, but adjacent to the incident in which Rampage Jackson, that's Quentin Jackson's son, Raja Jackson, was involved in a wrestling event that went a little bit too far. We covered it about 7 weeks ago here at the sports bar. KT King was somebody that was in the same wrestling circuit that the incident happened in, and there was some fallout from it that hit KT King, and he came on and he gave his side of the incident from what he saw, and shared some of the fallout that's happened to him. So if you have not watched that, go check that out. He's also going to come on my platform, the actual King Smith, and talk about this a little bit more. So shout out to KT King for taking the time and coming on and giving us that interview. We here at WTF Nation Radio appreciate that. He said, "Go Chargers, go Chargers." Let's see.
Hey, look, if they still have fans, it's that I'm just happy enough with that.
Yep. Richard Bronco said, "Long A when you pronounce my name." Oh, like Branco. Okay. I think that I've been saying Bronco, which, you know what? Hey, I appreciate that. I'm gonna go on a side tangent real quick. My name used to be Aaron, Aaron. I always say that, and I say it specifically because to me, two A's make the long A vowel sound. And I changed my name. So legally, yes, my name is King Smith, but that was not my born name. It used to be Aaron Smith, long A on the Ron, Aaron. So I got you. I will recall that, Richard, and thank you for correcting me, my man. I always like to make sure that I say people's names right. Let's move over to college news real quick. Last week was a doozy. My Alabama team, they won. They won. It looked pretty interesting kind of early on when they traveled to play Georgia. The Penn State game, that game was a really highly anticipated one, that turned out to be a really good matchup as well. Bama hung on, traveling down to Georgia, and won by 3. Florida State, front and center. Florida State lost to unranked Virginia 38-46. And that made a lot of people go, WTF. There was a lot of money that was lost on that game as well. And I was happy because I almost cussed. Florida State. They were the reason why my Bama team didn't start so hot at the start of the season. So I was happy. That made me 100% happy. What else happened last week? Were there any other matchups that were pretty interesting? Auburn almost beat Texas A&M. That one was a 6-point game. That Tennessee game got pretty interesting in the fourth quarter. Oh man, and Vanderbilt. I don't know if they're pretenders, but they're currently 5-0 right now, 3-0 in SEC play. They put up 55 points against Utah State. They got Bama this week. And that's going to be a revenge game for 2024 in which they came and beat Alabama last season and had a lot of Bama fans with their mouth open like this.
Yeah. King, I can tell you, man, Saturday, I did not watch a single college football game. You know what I did a whole day Saturday?
What? Because there were a lot of great games.
No, I fished. I fished all day Saturday.
You couldn't fish and have the game up on your phone?
No. I was in an area where the phones would not work. That's the good areas where you have no phone service, period.
Mm.
The only thing you're using your phone for is to take pictures to upload later. It was awesome. I was on the stream and fishing all throughout from like noon to 7. And then when I got done, I didn't even give a crap about what game was on. So that's how I spent my Saturday.
You know what, man? That's dope.
Sorry,
That's
pal. Yeah.
nah, man. That's dope. That's actually if you're talking to Mike Larson and Mike Larson, or I said the wrong name. I'm just gonna keep going. He
Yeah.
would say the same thing. You had LSU losing to Ole Miss 19-24. The service academies, while the Air Force ain't doing too good,
Oh, yeah. My
Army's
son
undefeated.
was there. My
Nice.
son was there. My son was there because they played at East Carolina, and my son was there on Thursday. So that was a surprising victory.
We and Navy is also undefeated. So the Air Force is 1-3, while Army and Navy are both starting great at 4-0. We've got some really good matchups coming into this week. Let me get my notes set up here. Coming into this week, the early Thursday game is Sam Houston versus New Mexico State. That's going to be a snooze fest, played at Aggie Stadium in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I've been there. It's actually a pretty dope area. Vanderbilt's traveling. Vanderbilt's coming back to Alabama. Revenge. That's all I'm going to say. If they lose that game, I may have to go in hiding.
My cousin's not on Vandy anymore, so I got no skin in this game.
If you check out CBS or Paramount Plus, you get two service academies going up against each other, in which Air Force is traveling to Annapolis to play Navy. I would have been at that game, except that my daughter has an event this weekend. It's the first family weekend at the college that she's attending to. So regretfully, I'm going to have to miss that game. But I had tickets to that game and I won't make it.
And I just thought about this. You know what I'm going to be doing while the football. Actually, I'll be able to watch the football because I should be done with it by about 2. I'm going to be in the mountains this weekend and doing some wood turning.
Nice. Let's see. Going through this slate of games for this upcoming week don't look as appealing as last week's, but we are about to get into some really good conference games. Miami's playing against Florida State at Florida State. Minnesota is playing against Ohio State. And while that game has a point total of 44.5, with Ohio State favored to win by 23.5, I'm going to call it right now. That game's going to be on Peacock. We might see the number 1 team go down. Clip it.
Is shortwave on here? It should be.
22 minutes in.
Hey,
clip it.
I want to bring something up to you real quick because this is something that I've been meaning to ask, and maybe we can do this as a kind of a large topic for next week instead of making this episodic.
Okay.
But I'm really truly trying to debate right now whether or not it is worth it just to have cable again instead of having all of these freaking streaming services just to catch the live sports that I want to catch.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I mean, and I'm saying that you just mentioned that game's going to be on Peacock, right?
Yep.
I don't remember the last time I watched a college football game on Peacock. I will say I watched them on NBC, or I will watch them on ESPN, ABC, etc., and wherever that is, I can find a game on. I will watch that. Same thing with the NFL and a couple of But I'm starting to realize that there is these games now, and especially when it comes to baseball, football, NASCAR, or college football, NASCAR, you need multiple streaming things, man. You need multiple accounts in order to watch this. And it just for me, there really needs to be a debate on what might be the best way to actually watch all of the sports that we have that have access to. We got to make our audience a little bit smarter, because spending $55 a month on like two or three streaming services versus paying $50 a month for regular old cable that gives you the same games. Are we
You know
really
what?
doing this cut in the core thing right?
That could be something. I know we've talked about it in the past. That could be some market research that I could do, and
Mm.
we could bring it to this show, because that's a real life decision that I'm gonna have to make here coming up soon. I haven't had cable since probably since I got back from Japan in 2009. And
See, and I've
I might have had
yeah.
it for 2 years, and then we just cut it.
See,
So
and I've had cable. I don't have the cable boxes anymore, and I only use the only reason why I have any cable box is because in order to keep the cable, I have to have a box in order to keep several channels, which, with my package that is included with it, also my internet and, the phones, all that, it's less than it would be just for internet. So that's where I'm kind of coming from, man. There's a lot of things that have to be. I'm starting to realize that we're paying a little bit too much and probably getting screwed on, especially for us sports fans, if we want to watch live sports.
yep. Shout out to Robert Moner over on Facebook. Said Vanderbilt is badass. Hey, look, I'm not gonna front. I wasn't sure if Vandy was the real deal until I started watching some clips, and then went, shit. Vandy might be somebody to watch out for in the SEC. I don't think that they are pretenders. So this week is gonna be, for Bama fans, a really good game, and a really good um, week to watch out for. And said that Army Navy game has been really good over the last couple of years. It has been. I want to try to get to the Army Navy game this year. And let's
Yeah,
see,
you said
FAU.
you said you were gonna do it because this was in this one's over in Baltimore, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
FAU, Miami are mad. They got snubbed by College Game Day. The real ratings will be in Tuscaloosa. I agree. I agree. It's because College Game Day, I don't. I think they try to look ahead and see where the ratings and stuff are going to be. Um, but sometimes I think you got to get a good beat on the culture and where the people are going to be at, and just think about wherever College Game Day goes, there's going to be revenue generated regardless. And I think that if you were going to do a little bit of ethical things with that, then you can say, hey, let's get these areas some shine instead of the usual spots that's gonna generate revenue anyway when college football in general are played in certain areas. So I agree with that, Robert. I did have a video talking about the UCLA coach that got fired, but we're gonna skip that. KT King said people have to get multiple streaming services for NFL games, Amazon Prime, Peacock, and more now. Yep.
And that's where I'm coming from. Yeah, that's where I'm coming from with the over-the-air options and everything. As far as getting your game, is it better to cut the cord,
Mm-hmm.
especially as a sports fan? Now, I'm just taking it as the narrow point of view of being a sports fan. I'm not talking about everybody who loves different types of entertainment, but I don't know when the last time I actually binged watch a series on Netflix was. And there really isn't anything on Disney Plus or on what's it called, on Paramount or Hulu that I am yearning to watch, on a weekly episodic thing or binge watch it.
Yep. Now, let's transition to our next topic here, and I'm going to get this up on the screen. We've got the WNBA Finals. Coach, I know you have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, I do. I'm about to go to the bathroom, and that will tell you a lot.
You know what? If you do, I've got this covered. Look, this right here is going to be the first time that the WNBA finals are played under a best of 7 format. All right. The series start October the 3rd. And if it goes to game 7, game 7 will be played on October the 17th. This is the number 2 seed in the Las Vegas Aces versus against the number 4 seed, the Phoenix Mercury. Interesting thing about the Phoenix Mercury is that they were the first team. There are a lot of firsts here that have beaten 2 of last year's finals team to get to the playoffs. Now, the Las Vegas Aces have been around since 2017, played at the MGM Arena there in Vegas, and they're no stranger to the finals. This is their 3rd finals appearance in 4 seasons. They clinched the finals berth in a Game 5 overtime win over the Indiana Fever, 107-98. Miss Wilson, who's been on a tear, dropped 35 points, had 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and 4 blocks in that game. And Jackie Young scored 32 points with 10 dimes to also have another first. That was the first time in WNBA playoff history that each teammates have scored 30-plus points in the same game. Across from them are the Phoenix Mercury. They reached the finals by defeating the top-seeded Minnesota Lynx 3-1. Killed them in that series. They ended up rallying from a 13-point deficit in the 4th quarter in Game 4 to win 86-81 and close out the series. Alyssa Thomas had 23 points and 10 assists to lead the team. And this is the first time that the Mercury have made the finals since 2021, and it is their 6th final appearance in franchise history. Their championships all came with the Hall of Famer, Diana, I always say her last name wrong, Taurasi?
Diana Taurasi.
Yep, Taurasi. And they won in 2007, 2009, and 2014. Vegas has the odds at, let me see. They didn't have this up, so let me look this up real quick. The current odds here are the Las Vegas Aces are favored to win the matchup, and coming into game 1, Vegas is favored to win game 1 as well to kick things off. Okay, so do you think that Las Vegas is going to capture this one and go with the odds, or is this Phoenix Mercury team have enough to quiet the haters?
Okay.
I'll give my take on this. I think that Aja Wilson's going to get out there, dominate, and prove why she's a force in this league. People want to go Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. I get it. They're the youth in the league. But Aja Wilson's now, guess you would call her a vet in the game now. So don't count out the Las Vegas Aces. And I think that number 22 is going to showcase why she is who she is. Moving on.
Okay, yeah.
The MLB are in the playoffs, and the matchups are set. Coming into the wild card series, you've got Detroit against the Cleveland Guardians, the Red Sox Yankees, which are the series that a lot of people are talking about, the Reds versus the Dodgers, and the Padres versus the Cubs. The Brewers took the number 1 in the NL, and the Blue Jays took the number 1 in the AL. Philly and the Seattle Mariners round out the other 2 teams. How do you see the MLB 2025 playoffs looking, and who do you have winning the World Series?
I'll go over the National League right now because I think the National League might be the league that the side that has the most
variance out of them.
I think, all right, first off, Reds, great run. I'm glad you guys got into the playoffs, but too bad. You're going to be gone next round. I think LA still has some question marks regarding whether it's not a bad, because they had a not as great of a season as they had last year. But I'm coming in with the but. LA was built for the postseason. and LA has the superstars to win in a short series as well as to win in a long series. So I do see the Milwaukee getting into the NLCS or the NL League Championship Series, but I do believe the Dodgers are going to end up, being the representative out of the National League. The Brewers do have a great chance doing it this year, and it would be a great story if they did. But the Dodgers, for me, that's probably where I'm going to go. As far as the American League, and I am going to address the Yankees last because right now they should be top of the ninth with the score tied 3-3. And last night, we'll get into that in a moment. But Seattle's very interesting. Seattle has had its best year since 2001. Okay, Cal Raleigh, 60 home runs as a switch hitting catcher. One of only five people to actually, 5 is the fifth person to ever hit sixth person to ever hit 60 home runs in a season. So happy that he's come up with that one. Actually, seventh person. No, it is sixth person to do that. Yes, sixth person to hit seventh person to hit 60 home runs in a season. And I kind of like the way that Seattle is going. They didn't have that much competition out in the West this year, but I do believe that there's going to be a strong case that Seattle might make it this year. And I right now am saying this as far as the rest of the American League goes. Regardless of whoever's in the Central, they're not going to win against anybody from the AL East. That's plain and simple. Neither is anybody who else in the wild card, because as I'm looking at it right now, the Blue Jays with the top seed, they've also got a winning record against the Yankees as well as the Red Sox, whichever team is going from there. And I really do think that they will be in the ALCS. But I also do believe that, the Seattle's going to end up being in the ALCS. So those two will be in the air. And for me to say that the Yankees are not going to the ALCS, well, that's after I just saw Game 1. Now with the Yankees finally up 4-3, I got to figure out something. Maybe there's a bit of redemption, but no. I need to address this now as this is happening because if I'm not going to get my hopes up on this, but I am going to say this again. Aaron Boone is making head decision like he did yesterday and pulling out Max Fried at 6 1/3 innings just because he has a pitch count and you want to save his arm for the remainder of the offs. God damn it, you're in the freaking postseason. You pulled this crap with Garrett Cole in 2020 and it cost you the daggone series against Tampa Bay. You pussyfoot around too many times with your damn bullpen and you're so incompetent he's so incompetent with this bullpen. He overuses the people, screws them up, keeps people in way too long, and has never used it. Last year, you could have had the game winner. You could have solved the whole game. No, let's get Nestor Cortez up there to pitch to Freddie fucking Freeman. What's Freddie fucking Freeman gonna fucking do? He's gonna fucking launch the fucking ball over into the right fucking field fucking stands, and you lose the game fucking 1 and never get the momentum back, you dumb fuck. Fuck you, Aaron Boone.
Do you think that the Dodgers are going to sweep tonight?
This time,
being that
I don't think they're going to sweep.
Being that it's a best of 3. So if they win tonight, they advance. Being that it's a best of 3.
I know. Yeah. Sorry, Cincy. You're gone. Yeah.
All right.
And San Diego and Chicago were the two that I was thinking of. But yeah, I am not too fucking happy right now. Even with Boston leading this series 1-0, if the Yankees make it this to next week, I am going to say this. I still don't feel confident in their next 2 series. I am not going to feel confident until there is like a 12-run lead in Game 7 of the World Series with the Yankees freaking at home, okay? Unless there's like a 12-run lead in the 9th inning. Because Aaron Boone has proven for the past 9 years that he has no idea how to manage the game in tight situations, and his stupid moves, his stupid freaking lineup changes. You bench Jazz Chisholm because somebody else has a better statistic on there? You fucking douche nugget? No! Fuck! Get me fucking pissed off. I mean, fuck, man. I only have certain fucking things that make me happy, and the fucking Yankees are one of them, and you fucking piss me the hell off every fucking year, Aaron Boone. You do this to me. Stop pissing me off. Damn it. I'm going to fucking snap if I don't. I'm going to calm down. All right.
Right now, it is the bottom of the 8th, 2 outs. The Yankees have 3 on right now with Chisholm at bat, 2 strikes, 2 balls, 2 outs. Okay, so we just got the 3rd ball now.
Strike 3.
Oh, I'm behind then. The last that I see was a ball.
Oh, no. That was a ball, yeah. Okay, I'm on the wrong count.
Okay,
I saw 3, and I'm thinking that it was just strike 3.
Nope, he's sitting at 3 balls and 2 strikes. So let's see if Boston is able to close out this inning here. Man, this is gonna be. Let's stay right here for a second because I am curious.
All right. Now that's second, no problem.
Ground out. Yep. All right. So that's the end of the 8th.
All right, look, they're up right now. Okay. Do I feel confident that Aaron Boone's going to make the correct pitching decision and have somebody close it out in the top of the 9th? I am 50-50 right now. That's all I'm going to say is that I am 50-50 right now.
Let's see. Now at bat, you've got Eaton, who is currently 1-2 at bat. Let's see who's pitching. All right, you know what? Too much dead air. Let's go to the comment section and see, what we've got. All right. Let's see here. Bam. We've got KT King said the price for streaming services add up quickly. Yep. Let's see. Who really avidly watches the WNBA? I do, KT King.
King does. The only fucking person that has a radio show that watches the WNBA.
He said 2 West Coast teams. Weird. Yeah, that was another fact that I had, but I forgot to mention it. Both of those teams are like within 80 miles of each other. They're not very far. And I thought that was pretty interesting when I saw that. As a matter of fact, let me look this up. How far is Vegas from Phoenix? Oh, more than 90 miles. 301 miles. But that's still, to me, like, because Vegas borders Nevada. I'm sorry, Arizona. It's right there. They're not that far from each other. I just like traveling and stuff all the time. But yeah. All right. The last thing that I have for us, I mean, if we're trying to make America great again, it ain't gonna be in golf because the Ryder Cup, which features the USA's best versus Europe's best, ended with some controversy. Europe beat America for the first time on US soil since 2012. That was the little stat that I teed up for y'all earlier. But there was some controversy that came out of the Ryder Cup in which several of the golfers said that the U.S. crowd was just way too rowdy and that they lacked decorum. I can't ever say that word right. Decorum. You know, they were uncouth, not classy, doing a lot of wild things out there, and, you know, instead of being classy on the golf course. And there was an incident that had occurred. But before I play that incident, let me get into some of my highlights here that I had for the event. Let's see, the Ryder Cup. Where are my notes? Man, Coach, you might have to fill some time here while I try to find my notes.
What I did see a lot of that. One of them ended up pouring a beer on one of the wives of the golf players. And I'm going to be as blunt and as honest as I can. A bunch of drunken freaking idiots over there from Long Island and Bethpage. That's, I mean, you're not getting the brightest group of people out there that are going out to Bethpage. Look, Long Islanders, people from New Jersey, when they get drunk, they get stupid. And yes, I can understand the reasons why a lot of the stupidity and the lack of decorum were there. Anytime you go up there and we're not doing well and the crowd has to entertain themselves because the lack of good competition happening, they will do something stupid, and they will definitely do something stupid while they're drinking. This is New York we're talking about, okay? I will give you possibly the best example of a crowd ever taking over anything. Mm-hmm. Whether it be a match, whether it be a concert, whether it be an arena. All right, I'm trying to remember the year. 2013, and KT King, if you are watching, you'll probably tell me if I'm correct or not. I was deployed though, but from my remembering, it was in 2013. Right at the day after WrestleMania, there was a Monday Night Raw showing that everybody was ticked off that John Cena won the championship. The WrestleMania was not as stellar as it was in years past. And the crowd was just unbelievably vocal, lively, violent. Trolling is the best way to say it, to be the trolls that wrestling fans are. That's exactly what they were doing. And they were chanting throughout the entire match. There were booing when they were supposed to be cheering. They were voicing the displeasure over certain things. And they've literally took over the entire 3 hours of that entire show. They will do that at freaking Yankee games. They will do that at Jets games. They've done that at Jets games when the Jets have been terrible. Okay, let's be as blunt as we can be. I have been to the games from when they started all the way up until the end. They booed. Okay, I have been at games where people have, where it feels like the Jets have farted on you at the end of it, and it has happened time and time again. But yes, that's how the people up there in New York will take over a crowd like that. They have done it before. They will do it again. And yes, they are some scummy, disgusting people with a lack of decorum for what's happening. Well, guess what? You're also in their backyard. And they're some of those people that, hey, you come to my country, you frog eating, surrender monkey. I'm gonna fucking tell you what the fuck to do. That's how they are. Yes. They don't speak with the Southern accent. They speak with my fucking accent.
Yeah. So I did find my notes here, and I'm going to go over them before I showcase one of the videos, right? So Europe defeated the U.S. 15-13 to capture the cup. Like I said, it was the first time that Europe has won on U.S. soil since 2012. Europe jumped out early. And while the U.S. tried to mount a late rally in the singles games, they just couldn't quite close the gap. Now, some notable things that happened. The event's MC, Heather McMahon, came under fire after she participated in a vulgar F you, Rory, that had been directed at McElroy by the crowd. She later resigned from her role, and that was one of the central reasons to it. Rory McIlroy caught flack. As he's one of Europe's marquee players, he was frequently targeted by taunts, shouted obscenities, and heckling mid-play. He was one of the biggest people that later came out and said that there was an unacceptable, abusive behavior from fans. And I have a clip in which his wife, Erica, got hit by a beer can that was thrown from the crowd. I think when you look at it, it was directed at Roy, and she was just a casualty of war. So let's take a look at that clip here, and y'all tell me what you think.
Coach Foster?
Nope, wrong clip. Bam. Here it is in slow motion. Why you got to hit the lady in the hat? All she was doing was walking. Now, Rory turned around and he was ready to fight somebody. And I think people stopped. If you took a look at the crowd, people in the crowd were kind of looking like, Nobody turned around. I find it fascinating, though, that the crowd stuck up for themselves. So here it is again. I'm going to mute it this time and just going to watch it. He's down here. He's pumped. He's hyped, right? He ended up slapping somebody's hand, and then bam, beer can. Coach, what's up? Like, I'm going to get political. As a matter of fact, fuck it. Let's do it. I'm going to get political. I'm doing it. Whatever. Cancel me. I think that some of the attitudes that we're seeing by our country's nationals is a direct reflection of the leadership that is leading our country at the moment. I see a lack of decorum at the top level, and that has permeated downstream to others that believe that they could just do whatever, say whatever, and not have to deal with consequences. And I think that what we saw at that Ryder Cup, because there's that, I looked it up. There's been prior rowdiness, but not to that level. Not to that level. And I think that the reason why people think that it's acceptable to do this is because they see the leader of the free world doing it. I'm going to stick to that. Do you have an opinion on that, Coach?
Yeah, I do. And while I don't disagree with you, okay, you hear that again. I don't disagree with you. I think it has a lot more to do now with retaliation. Okay? And I'm going to say this as retaliation. We can go, I can go back from years upon years, maybe over 2 decades, okay, where one side was ostracized and told, regardless of whatever they'd said, whatever they did, they were racist, xenophobic, homophobic, bad people, threats to democracy, un-Americans, etc. Shut up and deal with it because you are this, you are that, you are this, regardless of whatever you believe, because you are on one side of the political agenda. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And now that that side has turned, I believe right now that they are giving the tit for the tat. Is that now they're open and they're saying, oh no, motherfuckers, you kept saying that we can't do this. Now we are doing this. What are you going to do about it?
Okay.
We have been in a tit for tat politically now going on. It has been this way since 2004. Since I can say that. I would want to say maybe even 2000, but this has been a phenomenon in our democracy since the dawning of our professional politicians. The ones that, everybody gets this political science degree and then all of a sudden it starts as a staffer and works its way up and now has been a cog in this hill. We've specialized the government work. We've, made it an entire field of education, and we now have the fruits of all those growing. And we're also at the point right now of our end of life of the oldest, by far the oh god, let me see, the generation that is currently holding the leadership right now within both chambers of the Senate, the judiciary, as well as the executive branch, come from the generation that was that had the greatest economic growth out of any generation in human history, had the greatest growth in technology from the time that they were born, and had the greatest settings from the time that they were born all the way up until now. And they are holding on to the death of all the power that they have accumulated in their life because they know that they cannot take it past there. That's why we're running into a lot of this shit right now, is because a lot of these old fucks that believe in the way that they do are not giving up the fucking power that they've had. And everybody's now on a tit for tat because they want to end their life up there winning, because famous term from those baby boomer cocksuckers, he who dies with the most toys wins. Well, let me be as blunt as I can. There's no reason why people like Chuck Schumer, Donald Trump, or frickin' Nancy Pelosi and their old asses should be anywhere near our branches of government. But these are the shit stains that the mass group of people have had to decide for us to do, because very few of the people in our generation will stand up to them and tell them, no, your time is done. Okay? They force themselves to be the selfish generation, and they are doing this to pull everything out. The only way to keep this decorum going around, and I hate to say this, is for a national tragedy in order for them to actually be able to to get together and do this. We literally had a fucking guy shot for debating things open in public, and then a bunch of cocksuckers with freaking accounts on the internet are now applauding somebody's death and saying that that guy deserved it, and we have to have this, that, and the other. Again, we're going back and forth, tit for tat decorum. So what you saw happening with these assholes who were acting up in Bethpage are doing that not just because of that, people, but because of the years upon years of them being silenced, them being told that if they said what they believed in, even if it wasn't, they were racist, they were homophobic, they were xenophobic, Arabophobic, cocksucker fucking phobic. Fuck them all. Let me also say this too, to both sides of the aisle. If you care more about whether somebody's a Democrat or Republican more than them being an American, you're the fucking problem. You're the fucking problem with this goddamn fucking world. You're the problem with this country. And you're also probably the fucking problem behind fucking Pete Hegseth, okay? And fuck you too, Pussy Pete. That's another motherfucker. I'm going to, you know what? Fuck that. You're going to check, tune in tomorrow for something about Pussy Pete, okay?
All right.
Yeah. Okay. And you keep telling me that you know what? No, I'm going to break fucking thing. This guy says we should not look at the Magic. I'm going to break the fucking little bit of a behind the wall. Nemo telling me that I've got to be a little bit more marketable and can't say bad things to potential people. No, I'm going to say bad things to potential people because some of these bad things I'm being enabled to by this president. I have freedom of speech, okay? So I'm going to say this. Donald Trump is doing a shitty fucking job. Nancy Pelosi is doing a shitty fucking job. Chuck Schumer is doing a shitty fucking job. And we're paying their fucking salaries, getting rich off of them, and I have no fucking control over it because people are electing these assholes. All right? Stop electing these fucking assholes. Jesus fucking Christ. And speaking of assholes, we got another baby boomer asshole that I want to talk about. Woody Johnson. You know who Woody Johnson is?
Nope.
Oh,
Who's Woody
okay.
Johnson, coach?
Woody Johnson used to be the ambassador to England underneath President Trump. No, but in his daytime, you know what he did? You know what he actually did? He was the owner of the Jets. Yeah, the Jets. He's the owner of the Jets. Another, baby boomer silver spoon motherfucker. Just like, the rest of the Nepo babies that own all the New York sports teams, like Dolan and, the Steinbrenner. A bunch of damn Nepo babies. And so here's something that gets me funny right now, King. Do you know what happened 25 years ago this month in New York?
Mm,
You might have seen it. You might have seen it on social media and certain things online because it's been coming up, especially from that last game that happened on Monday. Know what it was?
mm-mm.
It was the best football game I ever went to. It was Monday Night Football. The Miami Dolphins at East Rutherford, New Jersey, playing against the New York Jets.
Okay.
Monday Night Football, and it was the Monday Night Miracle. The Jets had came back from being down 31-3 and came back to win it 41-38 in overtime. Arnold Schwarzenegger actually predicted that the Jets were going to win at halftime, and Dennis Miller and what's his name and Al Michaels all looked at him like Schwarzenegger was on crack. Schwarzenegger was right, and I was at that game, and I tell you that was absolutely beautiful. It was. It came. It came at a time in my Jets fandom, and there's only been like 3 times where this has happened, where there was hope. There was great parts of this time. Let me explain to you my Jet fandom here real quick. Okay. When I started really watching the being a Jet fan, they were going from the New York Sack Exchange to mediocrity to crap. Okay. They went to crap starting at Bruce Coslett. Then they gave a year to Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll, he wasn't the Super Bowl winning, national championship winning coach at that time. No, he was just getting his start. But yeah, they fired him after a season, or it might have been 2. I don't remember. But then they hired Rich Kotite. Okay. Rich fucking Kotite, who proceeded to pass on Warren Sapp to draft Kyle Brady with the 9th pick in the draft to have 2 tight ends in an offense that nobody wanted to ever run. And what did he do? He went 3-13. And then they got the number 1 pick in the draft. And what ended up happening? Oh, they went 1-15 after drafting Keyshawn Johnson. Yeah, and even took a Super Bowl contending quarterback in Neil O'Donnell, brought him over, and went 1-15 with him. Yeah. But you know what? The hopes started going up pretty well. That's when Bill Parcells was hired. And then, with Aaron Glenn as one of the quarterbacks and them trying to get a young nucleus, they actually made it to 500 in the first year. And then the second year, they went 12-4. They won the AFC East. They made it to the AFC Championship game where they lost to defending Super Bowl winner, who won that year? That's right, the Denver Broncos. And then in 1999, the typical Jet crap happened. Just like freaking what happened. I think I told you this one 25 years later. Aaron Rodgers snaps his daggone Achilles tendon on the first play or first series of the season. Happened in 1999 when Vinny Testaverde did the same thing at the old Giant Stadium on the grass. But you know what? That year they finished up 8-8 behind Ray Lucas, and then Testaverde came back in 2001, and I saw the Monday Night Miracle, and the Jets were, or 2000, and the Jets were, doing pretty well. They started off 6-0, then they went 8-8. Then Al Groh left, and then Herman Edwards came up, and guess what? You know what? They had 2 really great seasons. They had the last time that they won the AFC East in 2002, and you know what? That was a great season because you know what happened? Hello? You play to win the game. Yes, that came out from that season. Guess what? They played that season. It has been great. And you know what? All the way up from 2002 to 2008, you kind of fell into a cycle of a good season and then somebody got injured and it was a bad season. It happened a lot. So, you went from that and then you lost Edwards and then you went to Mangini. And now all of a sudden, you got Brett Favre showing his ding dong to Jen Sturger on the team. Eric Mangini getting fired after going 9-7 when they could have won the AFC East on the only year that Brady didn't play against them. And you just didn't. But then you got Rex Ryan in, and you gave us hope again after drafting Mark Sanchez. And man, was there hope. But as I brought up last year, hope died on a December night or a November night in 2011 when the Jets beat the Kansas City Chiefs in a blowout. The offense was doing great. Mark Sanchez was doing competently. All the tools were there. And then Kansas City fired their head coach, hired Romeo Crennel, and then, allowed Crennel stayed on the season. I think we've gone on to this where that after that loss, the entire franchise turned itself around and became the Super Bowl winning quarterback, show. And I also brought up something in 2001 that I completely glossed over. It's, again, another thing that kills me is that Mo Lewis, one of the best linebackers in Jets history, just on a out-of-bounds play just gives a hard hit to Drew Bledsoe and busts his spleen. And the backup quarterback, Tom fucking Brady, has to come in. And he just decides, oh, yeah, I might lose this first game to the Jets after coming in for Drew Bledsoe, but I'll just go 10-1 for the rest of it, and then I'll go on a Super Bowl run and win my team the Super Bowl. Yeah, before the Jets ever could. So, maybe since that time, that's probably the reason why the Jets have just been terrible. Look, we've been waiting for Kansas City to get bad. And Kansas City has looked bad this season, and then there was some hope that, again, the Jets might do something with a new head coach, a little bit of more discipline, this year. And then September rolls around. And just like my fantasy team, they're 0-4. Now think about this for a second, too. All right? Kansas City goes on this phenomenal run after that loss to the Jets. Intertwined with that is the Patriots' phenomenal run. That, again, is intertwined with the Jets. Probably more than anybody out of any of those teams. It's intertwined with the Jets. The Denver Broncos intertwined with the Jets as well, for their two. Several dynasties right now just intertwined, and each part of it goes here with the Jets losing these. These teams go on a magical run, and I just have to sit back watching this. And even the freaking Giants, they've won 2 Super Bowls, and since the Yankees won the daggone, they won before the Yankees have won a World Series, which is phenomenally unbelievable. But then they're terrible too. But now they've got a competent quarterback that they're looking forward to. Hopefully, another one that they don't screw up again like they did with Danny Dimes. But even Danny Dimes is a better quarterback than every single quarterback that the Jets had since 2014. I mean, and at that point, I got CQ looking at me and wondering about this, and I'm looking at Justin Fields is right now throwing off. He can't hold on to the ball. They don't know what they're doing with Bryce Hall again. You've signed all of these great players to long-term contracts, and then they're as undisciplined as they have been for the past 2 years under Saleh, and then the 2 years before that underneath Adam Gase. I mean, why waste my time? I mean, every freaking year, it's become the same old Jets. That's what it means. It's the same old Jets. Every year, I get juiced up for this team, and they pull the same crap over and over again. I mean, for the love of God, can they just win one? Just one time. That's all I'm asking for. One lousy damn time. Can they actually pull this off and win this? All right, I'm not asking for a daggone dynasty. I'm not asking for anything else. Just one. Oh, no. Every year I do this, and I'm getting tired of it. I'm 5 years old. Just win one. One. Stop. I'll stop it. But every year you do this to me. Aaron Glenn, you don't understand what it means by the same old Jets. Well, you're 0-4, just like Adam damn Gase, just like Robert Saleh was, and just like the idiots before him, whoever the hell they were. They're terrible. Your team has been penalized before the snap more than anybody over the last 3 years. And how many pass interference calls I've seen Sauce Gardner, the quote-unquote best defensive back in the league, have? You've got a dynamic wide receiver Garrett Wilson, and he's got offensive pass interference. Oh, I mean, I don't care. We won. I'll give this all up, man. King, this isn't healthy for me. I really do have fucking chest pain right now because of this, man. I'm serious. I got to take a fucking knee.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of the Sports Bar here at WTF Nation Radio. We went off script like a mother tonight, but that is all right. Tune in next Wednesday as we'll be back live next Wednesday to see if A, the Jets have a win, and B, if Coach's fantasy football team has a win. If you hadn't been tracking in our fantasy listener league, which is free to join, the winner is going to win a $50 Amazon gift card and a pair of Jordan 1s in their size, mailed directly to them by us. All right. So tune in about an hour and a half for the Smoke Pit, hosted by my main man, Radar. Coach. Oh man, Coach. I think somebody need to help out Coach here, as Coach has pretty much said all he needed to say. I don't think David Cunningham is on to give us our closing words, so I'm gonna try to inspire my best David Cunningham here. Y'all look, sports is an entity in itself that can unite more than it can divide. I talked a little bit earlier about nationalism because that's what the Ryder Cup is, right? It's Europe's best versus USA's best. But that's no excuse to not have any decorum out there and a lack of respect for the people that are out there providing sports entertainment. I'll say it like this: nationalism can be a two-edged sword, yet at the same time, it's okay to have pride in what you represent, but that should not be an excuse to crap or poop on other entities and other people just because of where they're born. All right. Cheer on your team, cheer on your nation, be proud of, who you are, but don't be an asshole. Don't be that guy that shows up and you decide to hate on somebody just because of the jersey that they're wearing. Sports isn't about that. All right. That's my take on it. Coach, do you have anything to close us out?
Fuck the Jets.
All right. Pop Culture Warrior said, preach and don't yuck my yum. You know what? Let me look real quick. Before we close out, I gotta see who Pop Culture Warrior is. I hope he's playing me. Because if he's playing me, he's not gonna come out with a win. The Cincinnati Reds, early in the first frame, scored 2 runs and they're leading the Los Angeles Dodgers 2-0. I'm gonna call a conspiracy.
All right. Well, hey, look, now the Yankees are tied at 1. So.
Yep. I put that earlier in the chat when you had had your rant. I gotta see who's Pop Culture. All right, he's not playing me. Damn it. Pop Culture Warrior is playing Hurt So Good. Okay. That's a good matchup. I like it. You're going down, Pop Culture Warrior. You are going down. Red Knights going down. I'm King. That's Coach. We'll see what version of Coach we get next Wednesday. This has been the Sports Bar here at WTF Nation Radio. If you hadn't hit that like button, make sure you mash that like button. We did cross the threshold over 100 live concurrent viewers, and that's due to y'all. So thank y'all for tuning in. We're out. Peace.
One time!